With that, I'd like to call this meeting to order, Monday, September 28th. Here, I'm at the Township Admin Building in my office. We're all connected by Zoom again. Councillor, first thing I'd like to say is Councillor Cody has sent his regrets and will not be attending this evening's meeting. Due to efforts to contain the spread of COVID-19 and to protect all individuals and to comply with the province's state of emergency order, the council chambers will not be open to the public to attend council meetings until further notice. As noted on tonight's agenda, if members of the public had any comments, they could provide them by email to the clerk by 4:30 today. Please note that any email comments submitted will be considered as public information and read into the public record later in the agenda. A reminder that members of the public can attend this evening's council meeting virtually. This was noted on this evening's agenda and could be done by contacting the clerk by email prior to 4:30 today to request a Zoom invitation to the meeting. And this meeting will be, or is audio or video recorded and will be posted on the township's website within 48 hours. I'd like to ask, we're going to sing O Canada, and I'll serenade you as best as I can. O Canada, our homeland and native land, true patriot love in all our young command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, a true north, strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. Councillor Rayner, you have the petition.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, we meet to serve our community, to use our resources widely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibility to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, may we act wisely and well.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, are there any changes in order of items on the agenda? I don't see any, Madam Clerk. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary and or conflict of interest? None noted, Madam Clerk. Were there any submissions, Madam Clerk, from members of the public?
No, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Okay. We have no appointments this evening. And so we move very quickly to Councillor Albert Whitavine from the region, who will give some regional councillor remarks. And welcome, Councillor Whitavine.
Thank you, Mayor. So good evening, Mayor and members of council and the public. It's been a few months since my last report, so I'll give you an overview of my involvement in this period of time and share what we, myself, the mayor, have been working on throughout the summer months. So I'd like to start by mentioning that the Niagara region is working through an official plan amendment. Items such as the Woodlands bylaw will now be administered by the Niagara region as we were enforcing the bylaw. The Niagara Conservation Area will pass this along shortly. I and many others have been engaged in the public meetings discussing our natural heritage map that has been mandated by the province that we must do. The agriculture community has been fully involved in this process thus far. A number of options have been presented, and we are in the process of commenting on this. And the Niagara region has till July 2021 to incorporate new mapping into the official plan. So in this policy, there will also be a water resource system that will be mapped in partnership with the Conservation Authority. As most of you know, the province has set some new growth targets and added 10 more years to that, now extends to 2051. That does what does that mean for Niagara? Well, what it means for us is that our challenge is to create 81,000 employment positions and make available 215 to 275,000 new residents here in Niagara over this period of time. Presently, we are growing at a rate of 1.5 to 1.7%. So we have become a highly desirable place to live. So in September, we had a presentation by staff discussing growth management settle areas by Isaiah Banat, talk about the action plan and what it would look like, and this was the work he's done before the province changed, so it would be to 2041. And here's this, this is some interesting statistics that the breakdown of housing types and numbers: single homes at 150,000, semi-detached at 20, townhomes at 38,000, and apartments at 57,000. And these numbers would be totals of what is built and what needs to be built to reach the target set back from 2016 to 2041. So as we know, West Lincoln will have opportunity in this growth. So in Public Works, I have some updates on our intermunicipal transit share rides. This project's taken off nicely and has met support from our communities here in West Niagara. The beauty of the program is that it's an on-demand, which provides our residents with a high level of transit service. As we break down the information of this pilot program, I will keep you up to date on that information and the level of service that's been provided. Secondly, we received an update from the Swift Broadband Company that the Niagara region has partnered with to deliver broadband internet service to us. This year's plan is to invest $13 million into installing 172 kilometers of fiber service to 3,122 customers. The RFP went out in March and will close in October and should be awarded by mid-December. And as we all know, in this post-COVID world, this is a high priority for many of us, and especially here in West Lincoln, that this will be welcomed by new customers. And lastly, on the Public Works front, we can all look forward to our new collection contractor in waste management starting October the 19th for a 7-year term. And yes, I'm sure there will be a few ripples to work out in the first couple of weeks with new staff getting to know the areas. But I'm sure that we all look forward to the new contractor. And with the help of William also, the regions also encourages those that want to download that mobile waste app for up-to-date information and possible delays through winter storms. It's highly encouraged to download this app. It has many interesting features that will help basically understand what we can and can't do. So our contractor starting October the 19th will be a company called Green for Life, and they will be the contractor for West Lincoln. The region's split up into two sections. One is Miller and the other is Green for Life, and we will have Green for Life providing service to us. So on the public health front, we've obviously seen an increase in use of PPE, training, coaching staff to those people that have been redeployed from the region to mostly our long-term care facilities. Our public health team's done an awesome job getting the information out to those that need to be tested for COVID and keeping public updated on the website and the case counts and the appropriate measures to protect ourselves. And as you know, the Niagara region and neighboring municipalities received offset funding for COVID relief I think in the last month, and this is definitely welcomed by all to offset those extra costs and also the lost revenue for our communities. So in early September, I was involved in a resolution requesting support for provincial funding to help those that are requesting safe housing from human trafficking. So we had a presentation by Elizabeth Zimmerman, who is the director of the YMCA. Elizabeth and her team are going to set up 6-bed emergency crisis housing project to help victims escape and find support to re-enter society. Elizabeth's team will also work with public health staff in creating awareness for youth between the ages of 14 and 24. Niagara has been an area of concern for this activity for some time, and this is great that now we can address some of these concerns and help some of these people that have been caught up in this, I don't know how to say it, it's just kind of really sad to get caught up in human trafficking, and this is a pilot project, and hopefully if the need becomes greater, then we'll have to revisit this program to see whether we put more resources towards it. So, and just lastly, I've been working with the mayor on constituents' concerns of our new construction of the roundabouts and public safety, in which, in my understanding, most of these issues have been resolved. So I'm happy to work with the mayor and region staff in these type of things as construction. And last week, I was talking earlier, for those that weren't listening earlier, I met with Niagara Public Works and roads to address some field flooding issues on Regional Road 2. And as I drove up to the site, I was glad to see that our police force was out monitoring traffic on the newly paved Regional Road 2. I had an opportunity to speak to the officer and thank him for what he was doing to make our roads safe, especially in the Castro area. We know it's the far end of the Niagara region, and I've heard through the two councillors that our policing forces far and few between. So I had a nice conversation with him and encouraged him to set up shop in the Castro Center area, and to try to slow those that were going through the village that were still in that highway mode, which I've had concerns to talk to councillors about that. So I was happy to see it. He was happy to find the new spot there by the Castro Golf Course, and so he was only ticketing people doing over 100 kilometers, believe it or not, and he was impressed with some of the excuses of why they were driving 110 plus on that piece of roadway. So I'm sure some of our residents have quite the imagination of why they might be in a hurry. And so anyways, I just, again, wanted to thank you for always allowing me to come and once a month and share with you some of the things that we've been working on at the region, and things that I've been working on as a councillor on all our behalf. So that's my report for this evening, Mayor. Anybody has any questions, I'll do my best. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Councillor Trombetta.
Thank you there, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for that presentation, Councillor Woodavine. Just to touch a little bit on the garbage, I know we're all aware on the 19th it starts. So maybe you can help me out, Councillor Woodavine. So the 19th it starts, I put out all my garbage that week, am I correct? And then the 2 weeks after that, that's when I don't, so the next week I don't put out my garbage, and then the following week after that it'll be picked up. So is it start that week, or how does it really roll out, is what I'm trying to ask Councillor Woodavine.
Honestly, I don't know when it will be, but I believe that's when the new contract will start. So I would assume and believe that, we can just look on the website, but I believe that will, you're correct to say that'll be the starting date for garbage and recycling every week. So that will be our start date. But there might be a few glitches in the first day or two, just to, maybe they don't totally comprehend the size of West Lincoln and the roads. So we'll have to give them a little patience. But on the website, it should state when the contractor will start in what area. Because I don't know what your day is. Mine is Wednesday. I know others have different days. So I believe it will be the week of. Councillor Trombetta, would be a fair statement.
Okay, yeah, mine's Tuesday. Okay, and then hopefully they give us a bit of a grace period if someone doesn't realize the following week, and so on and so forth. So, and then we'll go from there. But I guess, yeah, you're right. It's gonna have to get worked out, and we'll all catch on board, and then we'll go from there. So, sorry, go ahead.
No, just sorry to interrupt, but we had a waste management meeting, but we didn't meet quorum, but staff, we were having conversations, staff is fully engaged in this beginning of the contract. They know that it'll take, 2 to 4 weeks to work through some of those glitches, so I'm sure, definitely there will be, I'm sure there'll be forgiveness through that period.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Trombetta. Councillor Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Actually, just to kind of add on to that, I downloaded the app. I know you probably can't see it through the screen there. And I actually forgot about it when I first downloaded it. It actually gave me a reminder last week. But it's pretty straightforward. They show icons, 4 icons that identify, and it actually shows you the weeks and months ahead. And so to answer, I guess, Councillor Trombetta's question there, my garbage gets picked up on Thursdays, and it's showing the garbage bag component there. I doubt you'll be able to see that in any capacity, but that it is going to start that week. Granted, like as Councillor Woodavine suggested, whether they're understanding how big our municipality is or what troubleshoots or issues they have to troubleshoot. But I was going to mention the app as well. I know I shared it on my social media, which I think is what Councilor Woodavine was referencing there. And yeah, it's really user friendly, and I'm impressed with that. I think that part of it will be handy and received well. Obviously I think there's going to be mixed feelings as that transition goes over. So, I know there's probably some tough roads ahead over. I think it's going to be more than a week or two hiccup, but hopefully we get through it relatively easily. And just to Councilor Woodavine, just so to you, Mr. Mayor, to the Councilor Woodavine, so you said the police officer suggested or had hinted that people are doing 100 kilometers over the speed limit. Now, was that 100 kilometers over the speed limit, or they were doing 100 kilometers?
Well, just to clarify, when I asked him, I says, "Oh, sorry, you're keeping busy here, and when are you ticketing?" And he goes, "Oh, I don't stop anybody till they're doing at least 100 kilometers over, which is, it's an 80 kilometer zone, so they're doing 20 kilometers over." So, but he says most of them that he's ticketing are in that excess of 100, they're doing 105 to 150 down Regional Road 2. So I was glad to see him there, just slowing the freeway down a little bit.
Absolutely, and I think, I don't know if anyone else has noticed, but I have started to notice a lot more police presence in our community, and I think a big part of that too is being able to file those concerns even online. They help kind of streamline that as well, so not just hearing our voice here, but also residents actually reaching out and contacting them, so we have noticed, them starting to pick up that pace there. And then, so I guess lastly, I'll just mention, and so with the, I guess Councilor Woodavine, you weren't at the committee meeting we had this past month, but we had some representatives come and talk to us about basically the borderline completion of the roundabouts, and I think the public has come around to those who are on the fence about them have really come around to understand how they work, and they've been received, I think, pretty well considering the resistance of the change that was happening originally. So I thought that was worth noting in case you weren't aware that I think they're a nice addition to our community, and with all the other work, I know everyone's looking forward to November and everything being done, and hopefully just not having to stop downtown for any kind of delays, and highly anticipated. So yeah, so that's pretty much all I had to say. I just wanted to reference the app more than anything.
Yep, and thank you for that, Councilor Riley. I think the app will be very handy. Yeah. Anyone else? Councilor Jonker.
Yeah, I just wanted to touch base with you through you, Mr. Mayor, to the Councilor Woodavine. The lagoon outside of town there's been some interest of working with some people to clean it up and make it so that people can access it and enjoy the wildlife that is there. And I think you've mentioned something that before, and I think on an email it also did say that it's a region that owns that. So is that something that you'll be looking into to see where we can go with this and use that natural resource for our public to enjoy? Just wondering if you could maybe update us a bit there.
Yep, through you, Mayor, to Councillor Yonker. Obviously, you've seen that I was in some communication with a resident. He had reached out, and we had some discussion, and our point person, Bruce McKenzie, has been actively involved in the lagoons in Grimsby, and through making it a naturalized area. He's on holidays. He's returning in a couple weeks. At that time, you will be invited with other interested people who are probably going to look at doing a site visit at that location. And, but the decommissioning of lagoons has been put off for another year, basically based on that it wasn't a high priority project. And as we had increased expenses through COVID, we tried to basically just take some low priority things off the budget plate to offer relief in our operations. So it's bought us a little bit of time. So I'm leaning on this individual that has had past experience and past connections, and I will. That is the goal is to try to divert that being sold to a developer and try to keep it for the citizens of our community. And how we go about that is yet to be determined. So, anyways, thank you for bringing that up, Councillor Yonker.
Great. Councillor Ganand. There you go.
Thank you. Yeah, I've got two controllers here. I hit the wrong one. Anyway, thank you very much, Councillor Woodavine, for your report. I just have a question. Speaking of budget restrictions and the timing of things, when the presentation about the inter-municipal transit and also within the municipality came to us, it was the night that we were actually looking at our budget, and there certainly wasn't room for an additional $250,000 to be added to that. However, I've heard lots and lots of positive feedback from residents who have been able to use the on-demand transit moving from municipality to municipality. So I'm just asking of you, please, if you will keep an eye out for any information, data, usage reports that come back so that I know that we'll have a tight 2021 budget session, but if there's a way to squeak in and the numbers change, perhaps that's something we can consider in the future for our residents as well. But, so, you know, sometimes those reports might come to the regional councillors, but not necessarily to us. So I'm just asking, I think, on behalf of our municipality, if you will keep an eye out for those sorts of things.
To Mr. Mayor, to Councillor Ganand, definitely, yes. And this, I believe that this pilot project is financed through our levy because we were levied as a municipality to contribute to regional transit. So awesome that I was having a hard time with having it contributed from our levy without us seeing anything for our residents. So, and then them coming to the table asking for more money to be part of it was, you know, didn't sit well. So I was really happy to see that the staff, Matt, and there came up with this on-demand, and we were already contributing and then creating a pilot from it. I think it makes so much sense than running a bus in a circle and then people still can't access it. So I will definitely keep this council informed on this, we'll say the statistical information as it's collected. And I'm hoping for a quarterly report, you know, in the worst case, a 6-month report. And as soon as that information comes available, I will definitely share those numbers. Hopefully it'll be a good news story, right?
Well, exactly. And I know that we had already paid through our tax levy into the, you know, from going from West Lincoln, for example, to Grimsby, or from Grimsby to Beamsville. It was the add-on where you could go from Caister Center into Smithville that was going to cost us an additional $250,000, which we didn't have at budget time and couldn't consider. Some of the other municipalities who were able to consider it already had a transit line in their budget. We did not. And so it's key for us to know sort of afar how well they're doing it. We know that some of our residents are very much enjoying it, but finding out whether people are actually traveling within each municipality sort of lets us know about how important that is to, especially our senior population. So, or not even seniors, just people who don't have their own transportation for whatever reason. So, thank you.
Councillor Riley?
To be the last time, Mr. Mayor. Actually, I was just going to add to what Councillor Ganand had said there is I'd heard a lot of good things about the NRT as well. In fact, I've seen it a few times in our neck of the woods dropping off teenagers. And so it's obviously people are being picked up, I'm guessing, from, you know, a high school in, you know, Grimsby or in, I guess, the Pelham area, and, you know, getting carted home. But the one thing I think is worth noting, too, is, you know, when you look at the demographic and people who are using it and where they'd be using. I feel like a lot of that would be centralized to Smithville. I kind of question how useful it would be, and I'm very curious to hear the results of the ridership, but I'm kind of curious how useful it would be in West Lincoln, considering a lot of people required to drive as it is, and so a lot of the, I assume a lot of the senior population that have, you know, moved to this senior lifestyle living would probably be already downtown. And so again, I am very curious, but you know, at that time, I think that was January, we had to make that decision, and I don't think any of us felt comfortable investing $250,000 into this. I think if anything, we're lucky that the other municipalities did it, because we get to, you know, hopefully ride off the back of that, and you know, there'll be some cost savings, and when we eventually go into it, if we go into it, you know, we should hopefully get in at a much more affordable level.
Yep. Yeah, no, nobody's suggesting for a moment that this is going to be static. So this is kind of our dipping our toes in the pond, and I'm glad to see. I've noticed the same, Councillor Riley. Okay, any other last comments for Councillor Woodavine? Seeing none, thank you, Councillor Woodavine, and appreciate your update. Moving on. We have confirmation of minutes for Council July 27th. Councillor Ganan, you have the resolution.
I do, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Move by myself that the minutes of the July 27th, 2020 regular council meeting be accepted.
Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Jonker, thank you very much. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you, Councillor, and there were no opposed. Thank you. That's carried, Madam Clerk. Moving on to 8.2, Councillor Jonker, you have the resolution for public meeting under the Planning Act for July 27th.
Yes, I do. Move by myself that the minutes of the public meeting held on July 27th, 2020, under Section 34 of the Planning Act, with respect to zoning bylaw amendment, temporary permit for a mobile home, Harold Wrigley and Deborah Sims at 3775 Cambro Road / Regional Road 63, file number 1601-004-20 be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor Jonker. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Riley, seconding. Any comments or questions on that one? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you, Councillor, and that is passed. Moving on, Councillor Rayner, you have the resolution for the public meeting under the Planning Act for September 14.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes of the public meetings held on September the 14th, 2020, under Sections 17 and 34 of the Planning Act, with respect to A, official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment for the former St. Martin's Roman Catholic School property. B, official plan amendment and zoning bylaw amendment, College Street Public School property. And C, zoning bylaw amendment, Township of West Lincoln, housekeeping amendments, off-street motor vehicle parking, parking space, accessory dwelling units, sign bylaw 9390 and 9392, Regional Road 65, 116 West Street, Smithville United Church and Fort, 6659 Regional Road 20, Greek Community Center, file number 1601-022-19 be accepted.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for that? I'm going to go with Councillor Ganan, seconding that, Madam Clerk. Any comments or questions? Hearing or seeing none, all those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you, councillors, and that is carried. There are no communications for this evening's program, so we're going to move on to Mayor's remarks. I have two that I'd like to enter into the record. The first has to deal with Mr. Jim Hiscott and his 50 years of service. This dedication is rare and noteworthy, and our community owes a great deal of gratitude to his tremendous contribution. He will be sorely missed by his team, the fire service, and we wish comfort and peace to his family and friends for this life well lived. Rest in peace, Mr. Hiscott. I'd like to...
Good kind words, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, thank you. I'd like to also thank Weston Community Care for their organization and the support of this council on Saturday morning. Councillor Ganan and Councillor Rayner did give me a hand, and it was a gorgeous day, as well as Amy, I don't know her last name, but Amy sat out there with myself for 7 hours, and I was very thankful that it was a gorgeous day. I did get quite fried in the sun. I was very thankful when the sun started to kind of give us a little bit of shade under that awning. But in terms of the results, we raised an outstanding $2,066.65, as well as 737.9 pounds of food. So I was just going to read this. Thank you for hosting the food drive for Weston Community Care. An outstanding 2,066.65 and 737 pounds of food was collected to help stock our shelves for the holidays. Thank you for all your effort. And then continuing on, and just to kind of keep plugging in your communities where you can, we have the following businesses participating in our Mayor's Corporate Challenge. Big Country Raw, Talon Millwork, The Woodshed, Giant Tiger, Niagara Pallet, the Township here, Standpack, Smithville Christian Reformed Church, John Calvin School, and the Village Square Dental Center. We look forward to the results of that drive. It was quite noteworthy on Saturday morning that, and many people have, they commented that they had been able to contribute somewhere else, either at work or at a place of business, as well as the week before. And so thank you to the Knights who participated in the drive the week before. But I think in these COVID days, giving the opportunities for our residents in multiple locations, I don't think that there's anyone who's saying, well, we've already seen you before, and saying it with kind of a frustration, but they're saying it with just a gratitude that they have multiple portals with which to meet the great need. And I think we recognize that in these tumultuous days, there may be new members who I think would be greatly encouraged to know that the community stands behind them. So we're very thankful for that. So Charlene Bolpatty sent me this message, and I just passed it on to you. And well done, Town Council, and we'll do this again next year. So thank you very much. Those are my two points that I'd like to get on the record for this council meeting. Are there any comments or questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I enjoyed my time there, and Amy mentioned that last week they had $1,265, so we blew that out the window. That was pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
But people were so kind, and if it wasn't groceries, and some of them, they practically 3/4 emptied their cart. In fact, you were taken over to a vehicle with a plastic container, and you were slugging to get it back because they had so much in it.
I know.
It's just amazing how some of the people have come to support this. And one individual, put a substantial amount of money into the jar. And it was very enjoyable, and it was time well spent. And thank you for allowing me to come.
Yeah. And I was greatly appreciative of the community's response. I just would add that I would say the vast majority, like over 90% of the people, made a contribution in a small or great way. And so like I said, this community has each other's backs. Thank you very much. Then moving on, report of committee, item 11.1, Councillor Ganan, you have the Planning, Building, Environmental Committee minutes from September 14.
I do, thank you. Moved by myself that the minutes of the open session portion of the September 14, 2020 Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting be accepted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved with the exception of item, and at this present time there are no, and and that the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the September 14th, 2020 Planning, Building, Environmental Committee meeting be accepted, and that the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with Section 239 of the Municipal Act.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, Councillor Rayner seconding. Any comments or questions, any items to be pulled or lifted? Okay, seeing none. All those in favor?
In favor.
Thank you, councillors, and that is carried, Madam Clerk. Moving on, Councillor Rayner, you have the resolution for Admin Fire Finance Committee for September 21.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, moved by myself that the minutes of the Administration Finance Fire Committee meeting held on September 21st, 2020 be accepted, and that the recommendations contained therein be approved with the exceptions of item numbers if there are any.
Are there any comments, questions, or items to be removed? I see none, Madam Clerk. Oh, let me back up. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Jonker, thank you. Madam Clerk? Councillor Jonker seconds. And there were no comments, questions? Then I'll call the question. All those in favor?
Support.
And thank you, councillors. And that is carried, Madam Clerk. There are space for reconsideration and a notice of motion to rescind.
What about
I
public?
think we skipped 11.3.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
Public
goodness,
Works.
yeah. You're right, I checked the wrong one off. Councillor Trombetta, you have a resolution for Public Works Rec Arena Committee for September 21st.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know you wanted to hear my voice for the last one.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, a move by myself that the minutes of the Public Works Recreation Arena Committee meeting held on September 21st, 2020 be accepted, and the recommendations contained therein be approved with the exception of, and I don't see any. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, can I get a seconder for Councillor Trombetta? And Councillor Gannan is seconding. Madam Clerk, are there any comments or questions or items to be lifted? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Support.
Thank you, councillors, and that is carried, Madam Clerk. Now, items 12 and 13 are there for your viewing pleasure. We move on to item 14, other business. 14.1, Councillor Rayner, you have here the recognition of firefighter Jim Hiscott's passing. I did mention it in my comments, but if you would like to add a note, maybe from a personal perspective, this is your slot.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know Jim Hiscott's passing has affected a lot of people. The presentation that Dave Pyatt did last Monday when I was chair with all the firefighters was very emotional. And obviously, it was deeply felt because of the 50 years that the man has put his life on the line for the well-being and safety of all of us who live in West Lincoln, and you can't say enough about that. But the hardest part was the way he passed. He passed so suddenly and so unexpectedly, everybody was taken by shock. And obviously there was concerns about that, and people were very hurt. But Mr. Mayor, you've addressed the issue this evening. You've done it very well. And I just wish to say at this time that he will always be missed. He'll always be loved and respected and appreciated. And it's just unfortunate that it happened. But we're all together as a community to help anybody who wishes to. There's nothing wrong with talking about him and talking about all the things he's done and having good times and remembering all the good memories. Because I certainly do that with the loved ones that I lost, and Jim should be treated no differently. So if we move in that direction, it will help us a lot to handle the emotions that we all feel right now with such a sudden and dramatic passing as Jim.
Yeah.
So we wish him all the best, and he's in God's hands now, and that couldn't be a better place. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Rayner. Councillor Riley, you want to, yeah.
I'll just add a quick note to that as well. Well said, Councillor Rayner. I just wanted to mention, in case you got lost last week too, like that video I was able to capture, it reached over 42,000 people. And I think if you took some time to look through all the comments and the support it got, I felt that his tribute didn't go unnoticed. I think maybe some people weren't even aware of the video, but it was amazing. Not even just West Lincoln, but Niagara West alone, the amount of support and love and affection that was just kind of thrown out there. I think it just resonated with everyone, whether they got a chance to meet Jim or not. He definitely will not be forgotten, and the legacy he leaves behind. And that 50-year mark there, I think, is extraordinary. And I know when I learned that it was 50 years, to me, I just that's just unheard of. And so I was really grateful to be able to capture that. Even more overwhelmed by the response online, and so hopefully the members of the department were able to be aware of that support, because some of that stuff can get lost. We have a small town, and things did happen quickly, and not nearly as many people could attend that would have loved to attend. And so he certainly didn't go unnoticed. I just thought that was worth mentioning again. Like I said, it gets about 40,000 plus that video had reached, and lots of engagements from it. So anyways, I thought that was worth bringing up now.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. Okay. 14.2 is there to receive for information. I don't think we have a resolution for it. I don't see one here, so we'll just receive the Director of Planning, Building, Brian Treble, lifting of part lot control and signing agreement, Smithville Station, Old Town Gateway Estates, Mars Home, Bylaws 2020-77 and 2020-78, Block 40, Plan 30M-446, Parts 1 to 16, 30R 15651, and Block 42, Plan 30M-446, Parts 1 to 16, 30R-15652, received for information. You've received it. At this time, we have members of council remarks. I'm going to go on my screen how it works first. I see Councillor Ganan, Councillor Ganan, do you have any comments or remarks to enter into the record?
Just a couple of quick ones. You've already addressed the two food drives that have happened. I'm going to just put a plug in for the third one coming up, which is this Saturday, and Wayne Skilstra is doing his pumpkin giveaway. So you make donations to community care, and he gives you a pumpkin. But additionally, he's doing a matching of funds donated, as he did last year. So I do know there were many people who dropped $50 and $100 in there on purpose because they knew that he was going to match funds, and he very kindly did. So it's also really good community support. And secondly, I want to talk about, speaking of videos, as Councillor Riley talked about, the the Hamilton Health Sciences put out on our website and on their website a video about the new hospital. And it's very upbeat, it's very informative about what they hope to do with this new hospital moving forward. But it also really underlies the importance of the history of the hospital having been there. And so if you haven't seen that yet, be sure to look on the Hamilton Health Science website or on Facebook. There's a site there as well for Save West Lincoln Memorial Hospital. It's attached to that as well. It's good that the publicity is out there and very upbeat as we move forward to hopefully getting shovels in the ground. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ganan. I see Councillor Riley next to her. Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Riley.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I guess I really don't have too much to report. I did just want to make a little comment. I want to thank Councillor Ganan to coming by and being able to pick up the little donation that my wife and I were able to give. We do apologize again for not being able to help out this weekend, given the circumstance. Something had come up there, last minute. So I do apologize, but I am grateful that she was able to come by and pick that up, to say the least. So again, I'll make sure I'm there next year.
I would totally expect it, and if it was miserable, I might hold more resentment, sir, but it was a lot.
I normally be there otherwise. I go down to support everything else.
Okay, and you made that absolutely clear, but just you had some responsibilities. Okay, I have Councillor Trombetta next.
I'm good, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Jonker next.
Yeah, just wanted to let you know that the Chamber of Commerce of West Lincoln has been somewhat quiet considering COVID, but they had a meeting 2 weeks ago or a week ago. The board did. I couldn't be there because we had our council meeting, not our council meeting, but planning or whatever. But Cheryl and I missed that one. But there's minutes in there, and I know they were talking about doing the Toonie Drive again. They usually do that with the parade as well. But that's been obviously because of COVID, we can't have the parade. So they're still working on doing the Toonie Drive. So they'll be looking for places more to put the bottles, the donations in businesses and that. So just keep that in mind. If you can think of where we can put a bottle to collect money for the Toonie Drive, that would be appreciated. You could share that with either myself or with the other board member on council, Cheryl Gannon, and Councillor Gannon, sorry. And yeah, I can't remember if there was anything else on their minutes that I did get. I got 2 computers in front of me, and I'd like to open up that email again, but I can't. But we will finally be going back to the first Monday for meetings of the month, so that they're back on the schedule that works for us as council. So looking forward to that. On October 5th will be a regular board meeting on that. So it's just good to see things getting back up and active, and it just really strikes you when you get an email from the executive director, I miss you. It just goes to show that this affects us in so many different ways. We always enjoy getting together and having meetings there, and not being able to do that. That's something that is missed, and we hope and pray that we can see numbers improve, that we can get back to being live meetings and stuff like that with that as well. So just thought I'd pass that on, that the West Lincoln Chamber of Commerce is still plugging away, doing their work behind the scenes, and we look forward to a meeting in a couple of weeks and some updates again.
Thank you, Councillor Jonker, and then we have, I have Councillor Rayner.
Nothing at this time, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, then that helps us move forward. Are there any new items of business that require immediate attention or direction? I see none, Madam Clerk, so we're moving on to bylaws. Councillor Riley, you have the resolution this evening for bylaws.
I do, Mr. Mayor. I guess moved by myself that leave be granted to introduce bylaws number 2020-83, 2020-77, 2020-78, 2020-79, 2020-80, 2020-84, 2020-85, 2020-86, 2020-87, 2020-88, 2020-89, 2020-90, 2020-91, 2020-92, 2020-93, and say that 3 times fast. And that the same shall be considered to be read a first, second, and third time with 1 reading and are hereby adopted, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to sign and affix the corporate seal thereto, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding.
Thank you, Councillor Riley. Can I get a seconder? Councillor Jonker is seconding that, Madam Clerk. Any comments, questions? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Favor.
Thank you, councillors, and that is passed. And so we move on to confidential matters. Councillor Trombetta, you have a resolution to go into closed session.
Yes, I do. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. 1 second here, so I'm gonna scroll down. Screen kind of went up on me, so hold on 1 second. Okay, moved by myself that the next portion of this meeting be closed to the public to consider the following pursuant to the section 239-2 of the Municipal Act 2001. A, Treasurer, Director of Finance, Donna D. Philippus, confidential report T-21-2020, section 357, property tax applications, applicable closed session exemptions, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local boards. Treasurer, just that one, right, Mr. Mayor, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Then I need a seconder for that, Councillor Jonker. Any comments or questions about that? Seeing none, all those in favor of going into closed?
Favor.
And that is passed, Madam Clerk. So at this time, we're now going into closed session.
Uh-oh.
Some feedback there. Hang on, I'll get through this. We are now going into closed session through Callbridge. Members of council should have received an invitation from Roberta Keith, our IT manager, on Friday. Please disconnect your Zoom at this time and call into the meeting by using Callbridge. We will need to go back into Zoom to come out of closed session to pass the resolution as it relates to the Director of Finance confidential report. Okay, so we'll be just ducking this down. Have the resolution to move into open session.
Yes, moved by myself that this council meeting does now resume in open session at the hour of 8:15.
Okay, thank you very much. Joy, can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Riley, thank you. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? And Councillor Rayner, are you there?
Favor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Yeah, that's carried, Madam Clerk. And then 17.1 is, Councillor Ganan, you have the resolution that comes out of close.
I do, thank you. Moved by myself that report T-21-2020 regarding confidential report section 357 property tax applications dated September 28, 2020 be received. And 2, that the list of applications as contained in Appendix A be approved.
Thank you, Councillor. Can I get a seconder for that? Councillor Trombetta, thank you. Any comments or questions on that resolution? Seeing or hearing none, all those in favor?
Favor.
Thank you, councillors, and that is carried. I do declare this meeting adjourned at the hour of, I have to put it after Councillor Jonker, so 8:17. And thank you all, it's been a pleasure and delight to work with you tonight. Enjoy the rain. I know I'll be sitting out in it for some of it, just it's been so